Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports Talk. We're your host, Jared and TJ. And today we're going to recap the Orioles versus Rangers series that we just played. And I was excited to go to Texas, honestly, because last year I believe we went either 7-0 or 6-0 versus the Rangers last year. So they haven't beaten us in 2 years, but they did get the best of us in one game this series, but we'll get there in a minute. Our first game of this series, I should probably recap the last series. The last series we did lose to the Red Sox. We only won one game, and we lost a heartbreaker as well. That video's up on our channel already if you want to go check that out. But we did win this series, so we won our first series in 2022, or 2023. So let's give a round of applause for that. Um, so let's get started with the first game, honestly. In the first game, there wasn't a lot of offense. We only won 2-0, and I believe we only got like 4 hits. But the good thing is we shut the Rangers down and allowed them to only get one hit. Let me check this box score real quick. Okay, so but we do have unfortunate news for this game is Kyle Bradish did get injured in this game. He got hit right into the foot, in the right foot, I believe. It got a right foot contusion, and that was unfortunate because he was primed for a big year. But he's not going to be out for long. I believe he only got put on the 10-day DL or IL, what they call it now. And oh, excuse me. And honestly, it was a shame because he was pitching pretty good. At
Mm.
the time, our starters, besides Kyle Gibson, that really shut the door down. And it was really much of a shame. And it, oh, sorry, my computer like freaking it spazzed out on me for a second. But anyway, we're gonna continue. Um, so in this game, I'm gonna recap our top hitters, which were Gunnar Henderson. He went 2 for 4 and got his first home run of the year, and broke out of a little bit of a slump he had in the Red Sox series. He walked a lot, but this is he got his first home run of the year in this game, and Mateo as well. He also got a home run. He's torched Texas. I don't know if he caught the games last year, but he hit, I believe, 2 or 3 home runs in that series.
Hmm.
Versus them when they were down in Texas, and he gets another one here today or in this game. He went 1 for 3, a home run and RBI. I believe he stole a base as well. As we know, Jorge Mateo he's a speed demon. He's just him and Mullins are just the two fastest guys in the majors. It feels like,
Right.
But with that being said, Kyle Bradish only goes, I believe, 2 1/3 innings, or 2 2/3 innings, or however long it was, and which means the bullpen has to finish the rest of the game, which is 7 1/3 innings. So remember, in the last series in Boston, the bullpen did not so good, but in this series, they got it back together. The bullpen in the first game goes 7 1/3, no hits. First of all, no hits, 0 runs, 0 earned runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. And we're gonna do a new thing here. We didn't do it the last video, but we're gonna do it here. Is the player of the game is going to be Tyler Wells, who was supposed to be the starter the next day, but was the starter today or at the moment then. He goes 5 innings, no runs, no hits, no runs, no earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. It actually shuts the door down. I mean, you got to prepare moments for this in the majors. You got to prepare for moments when your main guy goes down and you have to have an emergency replacement. And you know with the starters, seeming to be fluctuated, especially with the injuries and young guys possibly coming up like Grace Rodriguez and Deal Hall. It's nice to have one of our starters in the bullpen like this to go 5 innings, allow no hits, and I mean, let's be real. I mean, this is kind of like a no hitter in a way, but it's not. We only allowed the Rangers to one hit, and I'm just gonna ask you a question here. The Rangers played the Phillies in the series before and were smoking the ball like crazy. And the Phillies are no slouches. They were in the World Series last year and they added a lot to their team, like Trey Turner. And I know Bryce Harper, Reese Hoskins wasn't playing either. He's out for the year. But I mean, you got to have some confidence, that this bullpen can fully get it together. We got to get to the A series. That's for another video. But this to me brings a lot of confidence. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Um, you know, I I'm sorry. I would agree because it just shows, the adversity. It shows the adversity that we're facing early on in the season, and this is a great example of us overcoming that. You know,
Right.
the pitching that started out against the Red Sox, it was, spotty, very inconsistent. We weren't really able to get a rhythm, but able to, gain some consistency the first game of the series against the Rangers, who you said were smoking the ball against the Phillies. It shows that we're fighting, the adversity that we're dealing with early on. We're tackling our challenges and facing them head on. So, I'm
Right.
very proud of our guys. And I'm definitely excited to see us, win more of these battles, within our team, and
Right.
that goes on within ourselves, and whether that's, putting a guy out there that, may have some tendencies in giving up a couple runs or a couple hits, but just putting our trust in him, to get us through these situations. And
Right.
again, kind of breaking down the door of, you know, um, what's the word, mistrust or, not enough belief in certain guys.
Hmm.
I'm just excited to see how we tackle these, challenges and adversity that we face
Right.
so far
Especially
this
since
season.
we're such a young team. There's a lot of adversity in sports and baseball in particular. Because baseball is a very streaky sport. It's either you're hot or you're not, really. And it's good to be hot, obviously. Especially as a hitter and even as a pitcher. Because like I said, baseball is a streaky sport. It's not like football where you can be good. All 16, 17 games, and win MVP. Like you're gonna have a stretch, maybe a month or a few weeks where you're hitting 300 and you got like 4 home runs, you got 20 RBIs, whatever. But then you're
Mhm.
also gonna have maybe a few weeks where you're like 1 for 15 or 1 for 20, 1 for 30, even, depending how awful you're doing.
Right.
But the Orioles do have a lot of players like that on their squad, who are streaky. Austin Hayes is one in particular. Just even the beginning of the series, I believe in the first game, he goes like 0 for 4, 0 for 5. The next game, he goes 5 for 5. Oh, excuse me, he goes 5 for 5. So it's like, it's good, especially since our offense isn't always going to score 8, 9, 10 runs, like how they did in the Red Sox series. So for them to score 2 runs and the bullpen to come in after an injury, at no less, and shut the door down, it's just key. It's key for this team because, you know, let's say in October you're in an ALDS ALCS game and your starter gets knocked out early. He gets knocked around. 6 7 runs maybe. You're in the playoffs for a reason. Your offense led you there, or your pitching led you there, or whatever. It's going to be important to have their bullpen moments like this where they come in. Somebody has to set the tone. Somebody has to continue the tone, and then the rest got to just shut it down. No runs,
Right.
like no hits, no walks, and that's the most important thing about this right here. The bullpen allowed no walks. And walks are like the killer of baseball. You walk a guy with 2 outs or you walk the leadoff guy, that only just means trouble, and it's just key to just know and extra runners on the base, from a walk, a hit by pitch, or whatever. Like with the new pitch clock rules, it's easier to get a balk and stuff like that, or get a ball or a walk, or whatever. So it's like it's very key to just keep the runners off the base. And if you do get runners on base, induce double plays, induce a triple play, even though that's not very as likely. Just make sure keep runners off the base fast, especially in moments like these. Luckily, the Orioles weren't down. The Orioles were down a lot last year in games and came back and won because what did the bullpen do? Come in, shut the door down, make sure they don't score, and you give your offense a chance to win. So it was
Right.
nice to see this in this game. The bullpen come in and shut it down, especially after the awful series they had in Boston.
Right.
Anyway,
And I just wanted to say, to add on to that, moments like these are important, especially for a young team like us early on in the season.
yep,
Seeing your starting pitcher get knocked out, how are we going to react? What team are we going to be? Are we going to put all our faith in one guy, and be scared when things go south? Or
right,
are we going to all equally believe in all of our abilities to contribute towards a team win, in light of our starter or our ace getting knocked out?
right,
That is why we have one of the top, that's why we have one of the top farm systems in the league, because we have the guys that should be able to step up, especially in the bullpen and the pitchers. We should be able to have the guys that will step up when the other guy gets taken out earlier or when the plans don't go as planned.
right,
That is why we need that's why these situations are important, to help us develop what type of team we are. And I know
Right,
that the O's, we are not quitters. We've
right,
seen that too many times, especially last year, especially a little bit this year too. Like we're not
yeah,
quitters. We stay in games. And I think that is a very positive thing that I see from us so far that is
right,
starting to develop in the building is we won't go down easily. We're not
right,
quitters. Our guys in the bullpen, they may be a little bit spotty, like I said, but they're ready. And if they
right,
go down, there's another guy right behind them that is eager to
right,
get in and show the team that yeah, I'm ready to go. I
right,
can help the team. So
right. So, so that's our long and big opinion on game one, which was a huge win to get ourselves back up to 500. So now we're going to switch to game two, which we score a little bit more runs in this game, and we win 7-2, and we win the series. That's like I said, our first series win of the year, and our top hitting performers will be Ryan Mountcastle. He goes 2 for 5, a home run, a 3-run shot. Mateo, look at that, 2 for 4, another home run for him. And then yeah, I believe let's see, trying to see here. Yeah, well, it's not telling me for some reason, but um, yeah, a big game for Mountcastle and Mateo, who seems to be the Rangers killer. Slightly the Rangers killer. Not, I don't want to go too overboard on that, but this is another. I have a player of a game here. I didn't mention the starting pitcher, but the player of the game, Kyle Gibson, starting pitcher, like how we were talking about. Goes
mhm.
7 innings, allows 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, no walks. See, that's another thing, no walks and 5 strikeouts. Just came in, dominated for 7 innings. 8 when he's brought in to do that. He's a veteran guy. It seems like the Orioles have done it the past 2 years. Jordan Lyles was last year. This year it's Kyle Gibson. Come in, eat a whole bunch of innings, 6, 7 innings. Even if they're not doing as well, but that's a great start that you need. That's playoff baseball start. Obviously it's April. Early. It's the new season. It's not really time to think about that, but you have to think. You have to think that's confidence. Who are you going to send out for game one? You're going to send a guy out who's going to go 7 innings, who can only allow 2 earned runs and not walk anyone. That's who you want to send out for game one or game seven, whatever. So Kyle Gibson so far has established himself as, I would say the ace of the squad, and that's huge because he's a free agency signing who's brought in to eat innings and has turned into so far a good starter for us. And like I said, if we do wind up making the postseason, he's going to be huge. Into if our bullpen isn't as good, for him to go 7, 8 innings, and then you have your back end relievers who, obviously our bullpen right now, it doesn't have Dylan Tate and it doesn't have Michael Givens. You know, that's a problem because they're not going to be back in belief until May or June. So it's like to have this where a guy can go 7 out of 9 innings and ball out, just completely shut down the offense. Like I said, 2 runs. That's all he did. 6 hits in 7 innings, 2 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Like that's a great pitching performance. And then your offense backs you up for 7 runs. That's just great. And do you have any thoughts about this game right here?
um I really I, I really enjoyed, how I guess our hitting was. I see that Mountcastle had a great game. He had a home run. I believe he had 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Mountcastle has really been coming on this season, and it's good to see. I have
Mm,
his jersey, so maybe it's a little bit of magic going on there. But I just like to see the consistency in our hitting. I also see that let me see. Rutschman had a hit, Mullins had a hit, Austin Hayes had a hit. So we've had a lot of consistency, in the terms of hitting in our lineup, especially in the top upper half of it. So that's
right,
a positive thing that I'm enjoying to see. And, I'm hoping that, our main guys like Mullins, Rutschman, and Mountcastle, I'm hoping that they can continue to, lead the way and hopefully, try to pump up the other guys who aren't maybe beginning the season how they would like to be. Like
right,
I see, Henderson is in a little bit of a slump. And Santander too in a way. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing, but it seems like more so it's trending in a good direction in terms of
right,
our hitting.
right. Exactly. Just it's good to have the offense be, at a good form it is right now, just so that like if our pitching isn't the best, our offense can, come back in a game, if they're losing by like 3 or 4. You have that confidence, like when those past Orioles teams, when you knew like you're down, but you're not out. It's good to have a nice gritty team right now. Like how we did last season. Just because back in the day, when it's 2018 through 2021, you may score 4 runs to start the game, but you're most likely going to blow that lead, and you may not get it back because your offense doesn't have enough firepower to do so. So they might be only good for those 4 runs. So it's nice to have a team that can be gritty, can get in the dirt, get nasty, take a few bases, steal, hit into the gap. They're not like the power team like how they used to be, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's what got us into a lot of trouble, especially in the postseason. They didn't know how to play small ball. I believe, that they were leading the home runs in like 2012 to 2016, I believe, and it's like, congrats, you only won one or two playoff series in that span, and you never made it to a World Series and you didn't win an ALCS game. So it's like, it's nice to have a team that feels like when they're down, they're not out because they can come back and make those gritty wins. But obviously this game isn't a good example of it because we won 7-2. But you get the point. The offensive consistency that's going to be key, especially for the top guys, like you said, Mullins, Rutschman, Mountcastle, Hayes, all the guys. So, and like I said, the player of the game will be Kyle Gibson in this game. He balled out, so congratulations to him. It's
Mhm.
2-0 at this time. Now, game three, we did lose 2-5. Um, Bullpen lost its first, I believe. But this was a big game, and it was a big game because Grayson Rodriguez makes his first career start with the Orioles, and I'm going to give him the player of the game. Even though it could be debated on who it could be given to, like or Hayes or Frazier, who got the only RBIs of the game, but Rodriguez goes 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 walk with 5 strikeouts. That's good. That's a decent debut. Not anything like blown out of water, but like at first he struggled in the first inning, but settled down the rest four and shut the door down really on this good Rangers lineup until the bullpen came in and kind of messed it up. So I don't know if you got a chance to, see the start for what's his, what for Rodriguez, but I think Austin both messed it up for him. He gave him 3 runs, um, 3 earned runs. Yeah, so I had to check real quick, but yeah, he gave him 3 earned runs. Austin both ruined the game for Rodriguez, but in all fairness, I didn't write down any of the top hitters because we got 2 hits, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me check.
And Mel Castle was one of them.
Yeah, Mountcastle, another one of the consistency guys.
And
I'm gonna
Frazier,
check real
Adam
quick.
Frazier.
Yeah, so 2 hits. I didn't write any offensive guys down because 2 hits isn't good. That's not
Yes.
ideal. But
Pathetic.
but but they're facing one of the best pitchers in the game, in Jacob DeGrom. So we've known that the Orioles have always struggled against that elite pitching talent, like back in the day when it was Verlander, Max Scherzer, David Price, and all of them. They beat a lot of
Strasburg.
all these dudes be free swingers, and it just make it easier for them. So yeah, but like I said, I gave the player of the game to Rodriguez because really nobody else you could give it to. And I gotta say, I'm very happy with his debut. Like, do you think that line right there, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 Ks, that's a good debut, is it not?
I think it is a decent debut. It's kind of unfortunate with Rodriguez because I feel like a lot of people are kind of sort of giving up on not giving up on him, but sort of, criticizing him too much in a way. I feel like, we need to let him, we still need to let him pan out a little bit. We still need to let him, get a couple games under his belt a little bit, you know. Maybe even give him this whole entire, opening month. You know what I mean? To, just see what he can do, see, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses. But in terms of, a first, opening game for him, I feel like it's decent. I do want to see, more of him and have him be more consistent. I believe you said he had 5 strikeouts. 5 strikeouts, that's good. Especially against the Rangers lineup. So, like I said, I
Mhm.
want to see a little bit more consistency with him. Obviously a little bit more less hitting, but I just feel like that again. That goes into him being consistent, with his stuff and what he has.
Right. And honestly, I can't fault him too much for everything just because, I mean, around this time, he was balling out in AAA. He was just absolutely destroying the competition. And it lasted up until when he got hurt. I believe he got hurt like May or June, and they shut him down for whatever reason. I don't agree with that decision. I guess it was to help him heal correctly, but he has to build that back up, especially coming back from an injury and then coming back for not playing baseball. You just got to build that back up. And I think that he needs to take time. It's going to take time. Like I said, he hasn't had baseball activities in a while. And, oh, excuse me, I don't believe sending him down to AAA is the best option because there's not MLB talent in AAA. You know, there's MLB talent on the Orioles AAA roster, but he's not pitching against them. There's not MLB talent in AAA very often. So, well, I mean, there kind of is, but I think where you're going to learn major league talent to pitch against is where else, but the major leagues. So just give him time. If he's doing absolutely atrocious, like allowing bombs here and there, all right, then maybe it's time to send him down. Like just let him work down there, build his game back up, and then bring him back up when he's ready. But if he's not allowing these 6, 7, 8 run games, and maybe he is allowing like 3, 4, maybe 5. That means that he's needs time to work on his craft in the
Right.
majors. But like I said, if he's getting hit hard and getting out of the game in the first, second inning, like I said, that's when you need to be set down. But he's not being destroyed. He has the stuff, and he's in two strike counts a lot, like a lot. Like he's in two straight counts with like every batter he faces. He just needs the knockout pitch. If he can get these guys out with these strikeouts or grounders or whatever, he's going to be a great pitcher for the Orioles and a great pitcher for the future for the Orioles and that's why I feel like sending him down is just not going to do anything if he's not, especially if he's not being destroyed. And that right, like I said, that Rangers lineup, that's insane lineup. That's all like a lot of power in that lineup, a lot of good hitters in that lineup and good speed or whatever. So and like I said, he shut him down for 4 innings, 4 straight innings. I believe he got into a little bit of trouble in the fourth or third or fourth inning, but got out of it, pitched 5. 5 is a good, that's when you're in the position to get a win or a loss, or I mean, just to win. Sorry. So, like I said, keep him up in AAA, let him learn, let him figure it out. And look, he's going to be this year's Kyle Bradish. Ironically, he's replacing him right now because of the injury, but Kyle Bradish came in. He did fine at first, but then got rocked around, got hurt, came back, was a different guy. And I think that's just what's going to take is Rodriguez. Maybe he will get rocked once or twice, but that's just what a rookie pitcher may do because he needs to learn. And when he has Adley behind the plate, one of his bestest friends on the team, it's gonna take time. But I think he's got the stuff. He has nasty pitches. He's got to figure it out, especially his breaking pitches. He seems to struggle with. His slider seems to not be in his control. And I believe he has I forgot what else he has, but and the curveball too, I believe, is also a little bit a little wonky.
Right.
So if he can get his footing behind those pitches, I'm telling you, he's going to be nasty for the Orioles and for the Orioles for the foreseeable future. To be honest.
And also like we didn't just hype this guy up, just to keep sending him down, after
Right. Exactly.
one mishap. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he's a top prospect. Top prospects are meant to go against the best of the best.
Right.
He's been in the minors for too long. He needs to be with the big boys. He needs to, learn the speed of the game because it's much different. Like I said, he's not facing MLB talent in the minors. He needs to learn the speed of the game in MLB because he's going to be going up against guys like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. You know what I'm saying? Big hitters in the American League. I mean, in the Rays too, they have a lot of contact hitters on their team. He's going to be going up against guys who are just on base like that before you know it. So
Yep. So yeah, I'd have to agree. And that's the recap of the series. We win the first 2 games, lose the last game. Obviously the bullpen let us down the last game. Austin both gave up 3 runs, and I think it's time to cut the leash on Austin both, especially with the future performances. But that's for another video, like I said. But I
yeah,
believe that's all
and
we have for this video. If you have any last thoughts,
I just want to say I'm very impressed by how we did against this Rangers team. I mean, this Rangers team is crafted very well, and for us to sneak out 2 games of the series, I feel like that's very promising for
right?
moving forward in the future.
Man, this is a long season. I mean, it's easy to overreact in the first, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, but early in the season, I really in this time last year I want to say we started off 0-3, and then I think we went 1-5, I believe. So to go 3-3 in your first, 6 games, that's fine. You know, just need to continue to win series, stack the wins up, and continue to ball out. That's just this team has a lot of grit. It has a lot of heart. They have a lot of fun. They got a lot of young guys, so it's like there's so much going for the squad right now. And the players who are not even on the squad yet, who will be joining this year for sure. Like Kyle Stowers who doesn't get any playing time, or or Heston Kierstad, or Beal Hall, who had a small appearance with the Orioles last year. So, just these guys who just need to, come up, get their footing, in the MLB, and just this team's going to be good. I'm telling you. This year they may not make the postseason, or they may will. They may make the postseason, but that's still up for air, up for grabs. I mean, so we're just gonna have to see how this team plays out, and I'm excited. This it feels like for the first time in a while the Orioles have a future. It felt like the past 2018 to 2021, I felt like they had no direction. Their farm system was getting good, but it was like, what's with the MLB team? Last year they gave us hope. This year they need to continue that hope. And even if that means, like I said, winning 90 games, and maybe you do miss the postseason because of how good every team is. But anyway, that's besides the point. Any last thoughts from the Orioles series versus the Rangers?
That we covered everything.
All right. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, share on every social media. We need to link our social medias in the
In the
bio. I
bio.
always forget to,
Yeah.
yeah, I always forget to do that. So hopefully in this video I will, you know, finally stop being lazy and link the bios. It shouldn't be that hard. But anyway, we're Birds of Prey. And we're out.